Thank you, Barbara. I'm a little verklempt, but we'll try to get through this. Thank you to Ron Klein, thank you to Haley Soifer, thank you to the board of this incredible organization, JDCA, so needed, and in a very short time, so influential for everything you're doing. And thanks to everybody for being here. So I was sitting in shul on Shabbat, and I was listening to the Parsha. It's Ki Tisa. I know you were all doing the same. And the story includes the episode of the golden calf. It includes the period when Moshe leading the children of Israel into the desert. They've been redeemed. He's up on Mount Sinai receiving the Torah. Down below at the foot of the mountain, they lose their faith and they create a golden calf as an image which they will worship. And of course, when God hears about their betrayal up on the mountain, God's anger blazes forth, and God says to Moshe, I'm going to destroy these people. They are a stiff-necked people. Kishei Oref, he calls them. You know, that description, God, of course, Moshe talks him out of it, then Moshe goes down and has his own confrontation with the people. He uses the same name, Kishei Oref, you're a stiff-necked people. And I thought, you know, that phrase really stuck with me. What does it mean? What are we, the Jewish people? We're a bit obstinate, right? We are a bit argumentative with each other, with outsiders, in our own families. We tend to challenge our own leaders, our own authority, maybe even the ultimate authority. We're stubborn. Above all, we're stubborn. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's a good description of the Jewish people. But have you met Democrats? That also applies. We are Kishei Oref for all the reasons I just stated. But there's something that further down I read in my Chumash, was a commentary, Midrash actually, that explains that phrase Kishei Oref, which sounds like a complaint, is actually not. It's actually a compliment. It's actually a description of one of the great qualities of the Jewish people, our stubbornness, our commitment to our values, our commitment to our faith and our families and our God through all the centuries of wandering and tragedies and triumphs. That is actually what has helped us remain Jews and helped us uphold those values that are so important to us through all of those ups and downs. And politics also has ups and downs. Democrats have been through triumphs and not so triumphant periods as well. But we have actually remained stubbornly committed to the values that unite us and the values that we believe are necessary to make our country, make America the best America it can be, the best friend to Israel it can be, and the society we want to pass on to all of our children. Of course, one of those values which unites everybody here and so many in our party is that commitment to Israel, is that commitment to helping sustain this miracle that we get to experience in our days of the Jewish state, the Jewish homeland restored after centuries of longing, which has become more than just that miracle, but a great U.S. ally, a great partner that helps us and we help them manage all of the many security challenges that emerge from the Middle East, that concludes a commitment by the United States to ensure Israel's security, to ensure that it always has the means and the legitimacy to defend itself. And of course, I want to thank the members of Congress here who have are now enacting the $38 billion Memorandum of Understanding that was signed at the end of the Obama administration to ensure that Israel always has the means and ability to defend itself. And that commitment to Israel's legitimacy, to ensuring that nobody calls into question its right to exist, its right to defend itself, that we stand against measures like BDS that are designed to undercut that legitimacy as well, that we want to expand the recognition, the circle of countries who recognize Israel, and that we want to keep alive always the prospects of Israel achieving an agreement with the Palestinians that will make a two-state solution that keep Israel a Jewish and democratic state for time immemorial. That is also part of our commitment. And of course, as Leader Hoyer said, good friends, friends who are that committed to one another, can have disagreements. And we can tell each other from time to time that we disagree. This is not a measure of the commitment. The measure of the commitment is everything I've stated, and that is something that unites this party. That's a pretty good thing to be stiff-necked about. And I want to thank everybody and all of these members of Congress for their stiff-neckedness in support of the U.S.-Israel relationship. But of course, it's not just about Israel. That's mostly what I know, but I also am an American citizen, very worried about some things happening in our country, and there are other values at stake here. The value that we place as Jews on protecting and welcoming the stranger in our midst, which is commanded more than any other in the Torah. And we can have legitimate debates about the right way to protect our borders and about immigration policies, but let's at least agree on the principle that you don't separate children from their parents and lock them in cages, or abandon dreamers who have brought their children to no fault of their own. Let's agree on those principles. That's something that we should be pretty stiff-necked about. We should be stiff-necked about the idea that we are stewards of the beautiful earth, the heavens and earth that God created and gave to us. And which are under great stress because of the changing climate, because of human activity. And there is a legitimate debate to be had about how to address that challenge and what are the right measures. But let's start from the agreeing to the principle that it is changing, it is our responsibility, let's not bury our heads in the sand, and that the United States should be a leader in this global challenge. Let's be stiff-necked about that. We need to be stiff-necked about that principle of caring for those in need, those who are less fortunate. I want to particularly recognize Alyssa Slackett, who made healthcare such a centerpiece of her campaign. This is where the rubber hits the road, of people who are often left behind, left uninsured, and left to fend for themselves. We need to be stiff-necked, no matter what our differences on exactly the details of health policy. We need to be stiff-necked about not allowing that to happen in the United States of America. Yeah. We should hold the value of keeping our children safe, keeping the weapons of war out of the hands of criminals and terrorists and unstable people, out of schools so our children can learn. Okay? And I want to thank Senator Rosen for her leadership on this common sense firearms legislation. That's something we should be pretty stiff-necked about as well. And we should be pretty stiff-necked about the ethics of our public officials. About holding people to uphold the oath they've taken to protect and defend the Constitution, not to enrich themselves in office, not to declare fake national emergencies for political gain. I want to thank Leader Hoyer and through him Speaker Pelosi for the amazing vote that just occurred in the House of Representatives today. That's something else we should be pretty stiff-necked about. And since all people, one of our fundamental values is all people are created, b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. All people are deserving of dignity and respect, no matter their race, no matter their religion, no matter their gender, no matter their sexual orientation, no matter what their background is. And so when we are in an era when we hear voices of anti-Semitism and voices of discord and homophobia and racism, no matter where those voices come from, if they come from our own party, if they come from the other party, if they come from anywhere in this country, if they're heard in Charlottesville, if they're heard on college campuses, if they're heard by somebody who's British, or Polish, or Hungarian, or Palestinian, or Israeli, we need to call out racism and anti-Semitism and prejudice of any kind. That's something to be stiff-necked about. So I want to thank everybody here involved in JDCA for giving voice to those values, for mobilizing Jewish voters around the country to also give voice to those values and vote on those values. You know, I'm often asked in Israel to explain what's going on here in American politics. Boy, that ain't easy these days, I'll tell you. And one of the interesting things about it is President Trump is fairly popular in Israel. I won't deny that. People appreciate he moved the embassy to Jerusalem. Many of them agree with his decision to withdraw from the Iran deal. There's been strong support of the United Nations. But a lot of them say to me, you know, we appreciate what President Trump has done for Israel. We're kind of concerned about what he's doing for America, what he's doing to America. And it reminds me of a story Shimon Peres used to tell me, and every Secretary of State and other leader I brought to visit him. He said, you know, when David Ben-Gurion came to New York to meet President-elect John Kennedy, there's some famous pictures of this meeting at the Biltmore Hotel in New York in 1960, December of 1960, after President Kennedy was elected, before he took office. And President Kennedy said to David Ben-Gurion, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm a great admirer of your country. I want to know what I can do to help your country. And Prime Minister Ben-Gurion said to him, the best thing you can do for us is be a great president of the United States. What is the meaning? The meaning is that what Israel needs most from the United States is to be not only the great friend and security partner and values partner that we have been through every administration of both parties and changes of leadership in Congress. That's a bipartisan commitment, and we should be work very hard to sustain that. But Israel also needs the United States itself to be united, to be just, to be a leading force in the international community, to live up to our own values, and that is the partnership between two democracies that is the best way we can give our support for Israel. So I want to thank JDCA for living out those values and wish everybody great success in the months ahead.
And I'm the closer tonight. Wanted to thank you, all of our supporters. Want to thank our board, our staff. My name is Izzy Klein. I'm one of the founding board members of the JDCA, also the chairman of the political committee, and I really appreciate all of your time and support. Want to thank our old friends in the House and Senate, who, without you, Congressman Martin Frost, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, we wouldn't be here today because you've been leading for so long. I want to thank the new members who have also joined us: Alyssa Slotkin, Colin Allred, Elaine Luria. Without you, we wouldn't have proof of concept. So thank you for winning really hard, really important elections, and thank you for bringing back the House into Democratic hands. You've proven this organization's value, and now we just need to keep it going. We need to keep this blue wave going. We need your support going into 2020. We've got a lot of work to do. There are pledge cards all over the table. You can find us easily on the internets, jewishdem's.org. Please come and support us. We do a lot of other stuff besides raise money. We run phone banks, we get out the vote, we canvass, and we're a huge presence in the social media and digital world. We're going to be launching on Instagram next month, so please follow us there. We have a couple of late additions. State Senator from Florida, Kevin Rader. Thank you for joining us and for coming up from Florida to do this. Congressman Antonio Delgado, who I think is in the House. I can't see him. Excellent. Congressman, thank you very much for coming. We're so glad to see you representing upstate New York. With that,
Brad Sherman.
Congressman Brad Sherman, Congressman Brad Schneider, thank you all for coming. We're heartened by your support. We need more of it. Let's go. Thank you.